This is Rich Steeves, web editor at TMC. I'm here at IT Expo Austin, and I'm joined by Rod Weir, VP Alliances at Jazinga. Rod, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your company.
Sure. Well, Jazinga, we exist to solve the communication needs of what we call the micro business. So that would be in that segment of 30, 35 users and under. And it is a business reality today that you can go into a store like a Staples or an Office Max or equivalent, which is where this segment really shops, and they can buy pretty much everything for their small business, including furniture, internet networking gear, but today still not a business grade phone system. So that's the situation we aim to change.
So Jazinga really wants to be the retail worthy type of company.
It's a retail worthy experience, and what that really means is that a segment who doesn't work in this industry, someone who just walks in, wants to start a business with some colleagues, can go in and can set up a system and not have to consult a user manual, not have to have a cousin or a smart niece who works in the industry. They set it up, and our architecture is what we call hybrid. So part of the system resides on the local network, and part is in the cloud. And as you well know, this segment is getting very comfortable using cloud-based services, and so they do some provisioning in the cloud. It downloads it to the device. It's complete in about 3-4 minutes, and they can start making and receiving calls.
So I feel like this sort of very small business is really an underserved market. How did Jazinga decide that this was going to be your focus?
Well, that's a very good point, because if you look at the landscape, the vendor landscape, it's kind of thinning. I mean, Avaya bought Nortel, my kind of backyard. I'm from Toronto. And that brand's gone, so that affinity's gone. HP basically did the same thing to 3Com. So again, if you don't work in the industry and you're a small business, you don't really know what to do. And so we see this big market opportunity, and what we want to do is say, hey, you can go to the same places you shop or online, because if it's a do-it-yourself install, you can buy it online and not need an installer to show up.
So a lot of these smaller companies, they tend to rely a lot on their mobile phones. You've got a recent announcement related to mobility?
That's right. So we now have an iOS app, and it would literally be as simple as putting in your email address and the password, the same one you would use if you had a desktop set. And now that client can become your business phone. So I could be in my business, you call into the corporate number, and the very same phone that I use on the weekend as I'm driving around rings, and I take that business call. And so that means that the customers don't necessarily have to pay to buy a desktop set, don't have to pay to get a conference phone, but it also means that they can go out and receive calls. So for example, here on a Wi-Fi connection, I could get a call to my system in Toronto and get the call here locally across Wi-Fi, and you wouldn't know. So that's very compelling, and there's no long distance cost in that scenario.
Absolutely, and that's got to be really convenient for these small business owners who sort of are always on call anyway.
Always on call, and they're very price sensitive, as we all know, right? So the fact that they can use a device they already own and not pay, but still have that corporate image of an auto attendant, have Teams, have voicemail to email, that kind of thing. So that's kind of what we're all about.
And it sounds easy to use, so they can focus on their insurance or hardware store business and not on their phones.
Hiring or whatever it is they do, right?
Great. Well, we like to look forward here at IT Expo. It sounds like you've got a nice niche for yourself. Well,
yes.
Where do you see Jazinga headed in the next couple of years?
Well, what we'd like to see, so we go to market directly to customers, and we also go to market through OEM relationships. And some of those brands that serve this segment today, be they in the internet networking space or in the telephony space, ideally, one of them would be using Jazinga to power their offer, but it would be in the very same channels that they aren't in today with telephony. So ideally, we would be helping transform the industry, making it easy to use, making it cheap to use, and people will recognize the name.
Great, and we'll keep our eyes open for that
I
name.
appreciate that.
Rod, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.